What are you doing, Laura?
Waiting for the first water to come
Listening to the sweet sound of the tank filling with the first water. Okay, so this is the beginning of the rainwater system. We've got this whole sunroom here feeding into these three gutters with two downspouts. We've got mesh netting on top to prevent any of these from getting in, which is the main bulk filtration system. There's another one down there, which we'll talk about later. And so it comes all down here, and instead of having a regular gutter, we've now converted to 3-inch PVC and then trenched down this way. And you can see here, we also, alongside here, we've run some electrical conduit to go down down there so we can set up an outlet. And also we have this nice little flush side thing so that we can also add water when we want it by just sticking a hose in here and adding water in case our water runs low because it hasn't rained. So, yep. So let's go downhill. Follow. You can see here the two trench lines that we've done here. In this spot. It goes all the way downhill. So let's, now you can see trench line to connect here with a Y, still 3-inch pipe, all 3-inch pipe. You can see there, it comes down from the other downspout. And here we hit a shelf of rock and we have to jackhammer this trench out. Most of the other stuff was dirt, but then we hit the shelf as all rock. So we used a DitchWitch for most of that trenching. You can see here is where the pipe comes out again and then goes off this way along the side of the hill. And maybe come alongside here so you can actually see it goes alongside the hill. And now, maybe down there you can see a little T, so let's go take a look at that.
So the pipe continues down this way. We have a rebar support here, just for a little extra strength. Over here we have the first flush system, which we got from rainharvest.com. It's just to make sure nothing gross goes into the tank. We already have the filters on top of the gutters for the leaves and the big stuff, and this just gets out all the gross stuff that's been on the roof, like dust and bird droppings and whatnot. So you don't want that first water that comes off of the roof because it's really dirty. So how this works is, since this part is lower, all the water will first go into here, and there's a ball in here that floats, and when the water gets high enough, the ball raises all the way up, and when it gets to the top, now the water can continue flowing down the pipe. You can see it's still coming out here, I guess from the water we had this morning a few hours ago, but this makes it so that we never have to come drain this. It's all automatic. So we can see what's in here. First I'm going to open this just to get most of the water out. There's still a lot. The hole in here is pretty small because we don't want, just because.
Just shocked that there's still water in there from.
Yeah, it's a lot of water that's still in here. It's been hours and it's hot. Okay, so let's see. I just rinsed this all out a few days ago. I didn't get it perfectly clean, but let's see how much we got. Oops, so there's the ball, and here's what we have. Not too bad. So that's how it works. What's in there? Looks pretty good.
And so this is all still all 3-inch pipe, and this first flush system comes in, I believe, 3-inch and 4-inch, and we wanted a 3-inch to hold, you know, to be able to carry enough water from the gutters and stuff and have it, nothing get clogged, especially since it's all buried. But now that we're out of the side of the mountain and we're past the first flush system, this is where we use this converter thing to go from 3-inch down to 2-inch. Especially because now with the 2-inch pipe, the 2-inch pipe is just much easier to use. It's much lighter. It's more like the 1-inch pipe. The 3-inch pipe really is heavy and starts to become, you really need 2 people to glue that. And kind of every time you make a conversion or change direction, it's always good to have like some sort of extra piece or thread so that you can change your mind later or add, because you kind of always make mistakes. So these nice converter pieces, instead of just going straight down, we also need to make the turn anyway, so we just use the Y thing, go to 2-inch, and then we cap the 3-inch one, and this allows us to also open this up or attach more pipe easily without cutting and stuff. And another useful thing we found is with these Y adapters or any turn, it matters which, you know, angle the turn is after you're connected, and you only have about 5 seconds to get the alignment right after you put on all the paste. So what we found is we figure out our angle ahead of time, sometimes by adding a longer thing without glue just to see the angle it needs to be, and then we mark with a Sharpie the exact angle, so when we go later to glue it, we know exactly where we need to align it to. And now I've got the 2-inch pipe, and like I said, it's much lighter, so since it's now in the air, it's just easier to work with. And what we've done here is built these temporary wood frames just out of 3 pieces of 2x4 and some scrap wood, just to hold it up, and so we can move these around and get the alignment just right as we go into the tank. Later, what I'll do is I'm just going to dig permanent posts here with, you know, a 2x2, cement it into the ground and attach it, and then I'll remove these temporary things. But this is just a really nice way to glue it all up in the air and hold it at the right angle and get everything aligned correctly. And basically added this screw and filled it with each one of these buckets with rocks to keep them from blowing over in the wind. So that's worked out pretty good. And now, here we finally make it to the tank, which is, you know, the most important thing, of course, is that this inspout now, since we're downhill, is below the outspout of the gutter. And, you know, we tried to go at a very, very gradual grade the whole time. But the most important part is if it's all sealed and we are below where we come out, the wire will all get there eventually. You can see here, every time, another good, you know, this connector is actually really nice because it allows you to swap out and make repairs or change your mind. This is just a collar that connects 2 pieces of pipe, and then there's a O-ring in there, and so this basically compresses that O-ring together, similar to just attaching a garden hose to a faucet.
And we'll show how that works in just a minute.
Yeah, we have a few more on the other side, and so we will demonstrate that. This one I don't want to take apart right now because it's all connected and suspended in the air. The other one's easier to take off, and we'll show you on the other side. But this is our 2,500 gallon tank, and Laura will talk about that next.
So this is our tank. It's 2,500 gallons. It's from Polymart. It's the Sun Shield in Arctic White. And so what the Sun Shield means is that it has a black lining inside. And that's to prevent sunshine from getting in and allowing algae to grow inside the tank. But if you had a black tank, it gets super hot. So the white outside keeps it actually about 13 degrees cooler, which is really important for us here with the Texas heat. We got this from Polypeak Storage Solutions in Bulverde. The tank came with these 2 inspout and outspout, but it does have the flat panels every 90 degrees, and Stefan drilled out a hole on the other side for our inspout. We're gonna use this as an overflow vent type thing. We haven't done it yet.
So you can see here, this is the side I drilled. The inside is the same 2-inch thread, but you have to make a 3-inch hole with a hole saw, and then this piece here unscrews, and it's a similar piece on the other side, and you have to actually go in the tank with the other half and push it through and then connect them. You can also use a piece of wire and put the wire through the hole of the one end, and then you just reach in with the wire, and then you find the hole, and then you can kind of slide the ring along the wire and catch on the other end and reach in with your fingers and pull it out. But it's also not that hard to go into the tank. You just need a tiny ladder, which we just built out of two 2x4s, just a slim little ladder that we could drop in the hole, and so that we could go in and grab the piece that actually fell when we cut the hole and, you know, get out of there. Ladder. And right now my girlfriend's in here. Hello, Laura. Hello. And she's gonna sweep out all the little things. And there's a headline. All right. Sorry. And you click it at the top or something. Maybe it's out better. There. Yeah.
Doesn't really do anything.
All right. I'll be back. Love you, honey. Happy sweeping. You should be able to see the hole over there. Yeah.
So this is our outspout operation. So comes out here, we have the slip ring connector piece, so we can just take it off and drain the entire tank. We didn't realize that you don't have to get these with the threaded pieces, so maybe we shouldn't have done that, but none of the threads are leaking so far, which is great. So next we have these two shut-off valves. It comes out, you can go either two ways. This way will go down to a faucet, which we'll show later. It's off right now. This part goes to the tank that we're hoping is a permanent kind of freeze-proof tank. We'll see. So how it works is just the water goes up here, obviously, around, down, and we have a float valve here.
All right, so we've got the water coming up through here into the autofiller, but if we want to move the tank or dump it, we can detach everything without having to cut anything. So first what we'll do is we'll turn off the water here. So now this is all blocked. There's still water in here, but nothing more will come out. But we will lose some water when we open this. I'll probably get kind of wet. Oh, but I guess since we drained it once before, there's no water in this pipe. So that's another great way to do it, is you can actually drain the water out of there first while they're all open and this shut, and then everything won't blow up on you. You can see now we can, both these slip rings again, we can just take off, and we've got this whole piece. And if anything gets damaged, we can just rebuild it without having to rebuild everything and without having to drain all the water in the tank. And even this, we could cut it here and make it longer. And even what's nice about these slip rings is they allow you to adjust your angle. You can go like this, and whenever you want it there, then you can retighten it there. And so I don't know whether these slip rings are weaker in general, but so far they really provide a lot of flexibility. It really beats cutting a pipe, especially after it's all put together, and especially after it's under pressure. That's why the shut-off valve and then a slip ring is always a good combination. And always having a drain, also to be able to check pressure, is also a great tool. So, all right. And so we have two different pieces here. Yesterday, when we basically flushed some of the chemical lining from the inside, and we just detached it here, and then we just attached this 3-inch pipe so that it just drain off the edge here. And it's just, just like a gutter. It doesn't have to be sealed or anything. But if we want this whole thing under pressure and want a faucet, we can swap it out with this other one. Now this is 2-inch pipe, and obviously this is still built. You probably want to have better supports so that people don't come around and kick it and stuff, but now you should just be able to align your faucet in down there and put the collar on like that, and you spin it. And the other benefit I think we found is that these slip rings without the threads are better, because the threads, right now we put Vaseline in there to keep it from leaking. But the problem is, and if you spin this, sometimes the Vaseline thread can still move, and that's really not ideal. So if we ever take this apart again, we might even put PVC glue into the threads, though some forms say that's not a good idea. So, but right now it doesn't leak. But now we've attached this right here. You want to get this reasonably tight, because this really compresses the O-ring together, and one of the other ones was dripping a little bit unless you tightened it a good amount. But now, come over here now, this is all connected. We'll check our faucet is closed. Now we should be able to open this end so that water can fill in the pipe to there. And you can kind of hear it go. And now that sound is because there's air in here, and that air is bubbling up back into the tank. So we can relieve some of that air pressure here by opening. And now we should get our faucet running water. And as you can see, we have a little bit of a leak here because this top piece is not on here correctly. It's the first time we use this faucet, but you just tighten that ring a little, and we have water coming out here. It doesn't appear to be any leaks here or here or here or here, so that's good. So we'll just close this back up. And always with these faucets, you always are tempted to you see a little dripping water and you kind of over tighten, but main thing is you don't want to tighten it too much, because sitting on here is normally just something pushing against a rubber gasket, and there's normally just a little bit of water dribbling left in here, and when you over tighten it, it pinches those gaskets, and then you have to replace them.
So one problem with this design, actually two problems. First one, I'm worried about it being so thin right here and freezing, but as long as the pipe doesn't break, it's okay to be frozen for a little bit, because it never stays below freezing that long here, like not longer than 12 hours usually. The next problem is that this piece is so high, the water has to actually be at about this level in the tank for any to get in there. So that's about 600 gallons. However, the outspout is about 100 gallons, and we're gonna have a second tank down coming from the outspout, so hopefully that's okay.
Yeah.
So this is the HW brand round end sheep tank. It holds 47 gallons. This is the ST214. They also make 215, 216. They make 225 I've seen that are more for cattle. But what the numbers mean is it's just the dimension of the tank. So the 2 means that it's 2 feet wide, it's 1 foot high, and 4 feet long. We might upgrade to the 216.